All right, 6 o'clock. We'll call this meeting to order. We want to try to bring military parents or forget. All right. Apologize for that. I don't know what, must be something real important going on. That's all. Most people have ever had. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. We'll call this meeting to order. Adoption of the agenda. Motion second, all in favor? Any opposed? Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our attorney called, he's going to be just a couple over here. Look at that. Just in time. All right, if you will, Mr. Terry, please indicate, please.
If you would, please. Our Father, we come to you tonight to make sure that we understand what you need us to do to be with the people in Texas that are lost as their children, all the travesty and all the other places. Be with us tonight to help us understand how to handle the business of this town and to be loyal to you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Approve of the minutes from the June 10th board meeting.
I was reading. I make a motion.
Motion?
Minutes.
Motion second, all in favor?
Okay.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, public comment. Looks like we got a couple, 5 or 6 public comments here. You got 3 minutes. I'll let you know about your second or fourth. You got it? All right, Ms. Thompson will take care of that. First, we have Mr. Chad Smith. He's going to talk about EMS money.
Is it okay if I just stay right here?
Whatever.
I just am curious, when we took it on from the county, is there a stipend? I mean, somebody was paying for it when the EMS was being handled by the county. We took it on, did we take it on wholeheartedly, hook, line, and sinker, or is there any money coming from the county to supplement our cost in that?
This is public comment. It's not a question and answer session. So.
Yes, sir.
Are you done?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Second person up here, Tom Zazek.
That's really good, sir.
Did I do good?
Yes, sir.
Great.
First, I want to say that I'm new to the lake, but my wife's family, the priests, have been here since 1976 over on Bella Coola. I'm a retired military Corps of Engineers, and I work with DOD as a contracting officer, quality assurance on $100 million contracts. I have 3 things. The MOA for the dam repair, has that been signed yet? Has to be signed and given to the state by September 1st. If not, is there still negotiations going on with that? Second, is it going to be an open or closed bid for the repair? My second point, fire hydrants around the lake. Does the county have any stipulation of the state or the city of following NFPA 291, which is mandatory 5-year pressure and flow, and every year opening every fire hydrant to ensure there's pressure. My last one is, I went online, I could not find a very recent H2O quality report. Last one I seen in there, I do believe, was 2022-23. To me, it's really simple to upload these items in there. And I want to thank the board also for posting the line item. I went on yesterday and I didn't see the line item. Today when I went in to get my notes, it's there. I have one point of contention on that, and that's under the line item for all the different areas under supply and materials. last year was $63,800. The board approved double that and more to $131,000. Most significantly in that, Parks and Rec increased by $5.5 thousand. The fire department increased from $7,000 to $35,000 for supply and materials. And the EMS went from $12,000 to $24,000. Police, the biggest increase, percentage-wise, from $1,300 to $12,500. And the last one was just for admin, which was right in range for that 20% increase from $8,500 to $11,500. That's all I have. Thank you, board, for letting me speak this.
Thank you, sir. And you're asking these questions and you want to run by them, feel free anytime to stop by the town hall. The town manager will answer any question you have.
Yes, sir.
Tonight's not the night, and I'm not being ugly. Tonight's not the night.
Well, I put on there, sir.
Yes,
You
sir.
can contact me anytime, discuss it,
Okay.
or say, come on down here and I'll talk to you.
Yes, sir.
I'm retired, sir, so I can get
Feel
away
free
from
to
the
stop
house.
by town hall anytime. Town manager's sitting there. He can
Yes,
answer
sir.
all those questions for you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. At this time, Miss Angel Stanland, Waccamaw Shores Road. No, this is about already. Go
You've
ahead.
already introduced me, I'm on Waccamaw Shores Road, 2247. So as of Saturday night, when we had the fire on the pier, I was told that my fire hydrant did not work, which has really upset me because I know what problems it could cause. This is a public safety issue that needs immediate attention. And if a fire were to break out and that hydrant failed, it could result in devastating loss, not only to my property, but to my neighbors as well. Our homes are not cheap. We've invested a lot in this community, and we expect the town to take care of its residents, starting with basic safety measures like functioning fire hydrants. This is more than a maintenance issue. This is a liability for the town. If property is damaged or lives are endangered because of a known unrepaired hydrant, the town could be held legally responsible, and that would not be good. Homeowners would have every right to pursue legal action. The residents of Lake Waccamaw would like to know, when was it last tested, and how soon will they be repaired? We are asking that the town allows residents to visually witness the fire hydrant being tested and confirmed to be in working condition. This would give Waccamaw Shores a peace of mind, knowing that in the event of a fire, our homes and lives will be protected by infrastructure we can trust. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
And this happened so to be in your son's yard, Mr. Little, the fire hydrant that did not work.
We know all about it.
I'm sure that
We know
I
all
want
about it.
everybody on Waccamaw Shores to know all about it.
We know all about it.
Well, thank you for saying that because I think they all need to be checked, so, yeah.
Absolutely.
At this time, Mr. Dan Smith.
Thank you. I'm Dan Smith. I'm chairman of the board of the Lake Waccamaw State Park Friends, and I'm representing that group this evening. And I want to talk a few minutes about the Old Lake Road development. I know other people have already spoke on this subject. We sent you folks a copy of the letter and our list of concerns that we sent to Columbus County Commissioners. I think that was on June 18th. And I just want to take a few minutes and follow up on that today. Our main concerns are all related to water quality and water quality amount and drainage into the lake. You know, we live in such a beautiful and special place. The endemic species, you know, there's 4 mollusks and 3 fish, I think, or there's 7 total. They don't exist anywhere else. I know Mr. Jeff Lane, he spoke in detail about the aquifer and potential impacts on that PD aquifer. If we come in here and put 4,500 homes that could use up to 300 gallons a day per home, which would be 1.3 million gallons. And that aquifer feeds Big Creek underneath with the alkaline water. You know, I always thought the bluffs provided the alkaline or the pH level of the lake that made it almost perfect. It helps, but the main source is through that aquifer in Big Creek. And if we screw that up, we can't fix it. The thing that probably what worries me the most about this is the proximity of this development directly into the watershed and the drainage that feeds Lake Waccamaw. It's directly adjacent to Big Creek, and it goes directly into First, Second, and Third Creek. I'm a retired North Carolina registered forester with 44 years of experience. I've worked extensively with best management practices, streamside management zones, buffer strips, protections of wetlands. This project really, really concerns me. And it may not be impacted immediately, but as good stewards of this area, we need to make sure we're protecting this lake. On behalf of the Lake Waccamaw Friends Group, I'm requesting our town board go on record to officially not support this development. It's not in harmony with our community.
Thank you, sir. Stand by on that. We got something coming. Mr. Jimmy Pierce.
I'd just like to say a couple things. Those of you who don't know, my granddaughter had an incident with alligator. We try to keep her name out of the paper, keep our names out and protect her, because there's some people that made some really bad comments to her or to us about the situation. But I want everybody to know, we've got to educate people on what happened. This is not something that this board can fix. We've got to all fix it. We've got to educate people. They've got to quit feeding the alligators. We've got to tell people that's what's causing this alligator has been fed. That's a problem. We got to deal with that. Now, this is the first incident that's ever been in North Carolina, and we don't want that to happen again. Now, I want to give Matt, I want to give you credit. You were there within minutes. Police chief was there within minutes. We got great support, but we've got to get something out on the Lake Waccamaw page. And I hate to even say that I'm supporting the Lake Waccamaw page, but we got to get something out there and tell people the information. There's some confusion out there about the numbers to call, because people say, well, we called this weekend and they were closed. There's after-hour numbers. There's information that we can get, and we need to get that out to people. These people that's got Airbnbs, and I'm not against them, put signs, let the people know they can't feed these alligators. Y'all, we got people feeding them. I saw somebody this weekend, I didn't quite catch them, but I'm pretty sure they were feeding alligators. Because we stopped and did like that, and alligators coming to you. There's a problem with that. There's a lot more to this story than people understand. If any of you want to talk one-on-one, I'll be glad to share it with you. But this was a very dangerous situation. They could have took my granddaughter and left with it. I couldn't have done a thing standing there watching. Luckily, it didn't turn out that way. But we've got to educate the people, and we need to get the word out there. And right now, it's not out there. The game wardens that were on duty this weekend, when I questioned them about it, they said that all they knew was the biologist met with the town, but they hadn't heard any of the results yet. So I want y'all to share with us. Let's get it out there to the people and let everybody know what's going on. Because this could be very serious. I don't want somebody else in this room, their granddaughter or grandson, for this to happen. All we got to do is stop people from feeding these alligators. Normal alligators going to run if they're going to get out of here. If they're not, they don't want to hang around. But when an alligator comes to you, there's a problem with that gator, and he's got to be dealt with. Now, I'm not in favor of killing all the alligators. Might be a few I'm in favor of, but not all of them. But we've got to deal with this problem, because people are still doing it. They're feeding alligators. They're down here this weekend. They were feeding alligators. We've got to address this. So, thank you. I just want some help on that.
You want to do that now? Okay, we're going to brief you on what we are meeting with the Wildlife Commission and Wildlife Enforcement. He's going to brief you with his manager's report. All right. I think that's everybody for public comment. There was a few people that come in late. Anybody that came in late, got anything to say? All right. If not, we'll move on. And I think the whole town and the citizens of Lake Waccamaw is going to like what we're getting ready to propose here. We decided as a board, and Terry, you want to speak on it?
Yeah, again, conversation that was earlier had opposing the housing development. We have heard and listened and are very much in tune
recognizing the intrinsic value of our forests, wetlands, watersheds, and the diverse ecosystems that sustain life. Whereas the proposed housing development threatens the irreversibility, alter the natural landscape, leading to deforestation, habitat destruction, pollution, and decrease in biodiversity. Whereas the development poses a serious risk to critical environmental resources, including the contamination of local water supplies, the disruption of wildlife corridors, and an increase in carbon emissions due to expanded infrastructure and vehicular traffic. Whereas the community has not adequately consulted on the long-term consequences of this project, nor have comprehensive environmental impact assessments been transparently disclosed and addressed. Whereas sustainable alternatives exist that prioritize small growth, urban infill, and the rehabilitation of existing structures without compromising the integrity of shared natural environment. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Lake Waccamaw Board of Commissioners, stand firmly in opposition to the proposed housing development in the current form. Be it further proclaimed that we call upon local and regional planning authorities to halt all approvals and permits relating to the project until full environmental reviews are conducted, uphold the principles of ecology, stewardship, and climate responsibility in all land use decisions, engage in meaningful dialogue with residents, environmental scientists, and conservation organizations to develop alternatives to protect the natural heritage. Let this proclamation serve as a united voice for the protection of our environment, the defense of our future generations' right to a livable planet, and the commitment to development practices that respect both people and nature. This day, July 28, 2025, will be signed by Mayor.
I move that we accept this proclamation.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? I hope that eases the folks on Lake Waccamaw's mind, and definitely eases mine, because my phone's been ringing, I've been told I was involved in it, and blah, 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 but here it is. So, all right. That one's over with. All right. I don't know if anybody, Brent Journey, appointment of the ABC board. Brent has requested to be put back on the ABC board, and I'll vouch for Brent. Great guy.
So moved.
Got a motion? Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Item number 9, approval of the audit contract. Do you want to update us on that when we got there?
Sure. This year we put out an RFP for auditing services, and we got one back from W. Green LLC, and we have a contract for you tonight for you to look over, and we would like you to award the contract.
We did a vote on that tonight.
If you would like to, that would be beneficial, so we can move forward with the process. I believe Mr. Tierney has a few things that
Yeah,
he would
there's
like
just
to
a couple,
adjust.
questions that I would like for them to explain. Go ahead.
I just want to interject, and you don't have to vote to approve the contract if you want to vote to give her the authority to work in negotiating the terms of the contract that you all have concerns. You can do that as well, and then we can revisit the approval, or you can give her the authority to negotiate what you guys are asking for, because Commissioner Littrell has made known some of the concerns he has, and I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just want to let you know, you don't have to vote to approve tonight, if you choose not.
And I'd be very willing to give Meredith that power to do that. But I would like to have a couple things settled in my mind as to one of the main things in this contract says that if they need to utilize third-person target, that they should be
on it.
Yeah, and this contract says that if in fact they need to utilize somebody other than that, that they can move forward with that.
We don't have to have an approval on that. We can do that without approval.
Right.
We won't.
So we would have to have, you would have to give them approval to do such a thing. That's the main thing. There's a couple other things that, but that alone would keep me from approving it as it reads now. And I'd like to give you the authority to negotiate that.
So we need that formal motion, that Mayor handle it.
I make the motion to do that, just that.
Motion is second, all in favor? Any opposed? All right. Ms. Meredith, finance reports.
Okay. Finance reports before you tonight are from June. Tax collection report. We received 99% of the property taxes that we have projected and 100% of vehicle taxes. Moving along to the expenditure report. Do you all have any questions or concerns regarding the end of year expenditures? Or revenues?
Haven't already asked.
All right. That's all I have for you tonight.
Damon, what you got?
Good evening. I've got a couple things I'd like to brief you on. Well site 3, the contractors that are also working on well site 4, they were awarded both projects. Right now, they're currently working on well site 4, but they're going back to well site 3 to build a concrete platform so they can put a piece of equipment that will stabilize the water pH on that platform. The contractors are going to move back from site to site working on that. This is to address the issue that's been ongoing that you all have heard about while they've been flooding it out and trying to get, they're trying to figure out a solution to why the water had that kind of viscous feel. They've come to the conclusion that through analysis and everything else that the water is too soft. And I'm not an expert in the field, but basically what they're looking at is using this piece of equipment to inject an acid into it to stabilize the water that will take away that excessive softness. A lot of times you hear about hard water, and people have water softeners. This water out of that aquifer is actually too soft. And in some instances, what it causes is the issue that we run into, which is that kind of, it's not a pleasant feel. It makes it feel kind of slick in your hand and it looks kind of opaque. So they're going to be going back to well site 3, putting in the concrete platform, putting this apparatus on there that will inject into the system, and then well site 3 will then, once tested and tuned, will be introduced into the existing system. Well site 4 right now is almost complete, but we are waiting right now between the power company and the state parks. The ball's in their court basically for an easement for electrical hookup. We've had a right-of-way that was put in for us to do this project that we had to go through, waiting almost a year and a half for state legislative approval since it's on state park land. The unfortunate part is when they gave that easement to go in there and do that, that's not where the line for the power line needs to be. So Duke reached out and said they need an additional. We're not gonna have to wait a year and a half, we're fast tracking it. But right now, the discussion is going on between Duke, where they're telling them exactly what they need, and State Park's gonna fast track that approval. The mayor and myself went to Raleigh a couple months ago, sat down with the State Park upper echelon, and they basically said they would fast track that. That's where we're at right now. I'm going to follow up later on this week, and basically, while we can't grease the wheel, so to speak, or get it to move any faster, I can make sure that they don't forget about us and that they're steadily trying to get this done, because that's pretty much the final part of well site 4 getting operational. Once we get the power to it, then we can start doing the stuff to fine tune it so it can become part of the system that we have, and then we'll have 4 wells online and established water pressure on, We had a meeting to open bids. We did not have enough contractors that submitted bids, so we are having them reapply, which is the state mandated we have to do that. We're doing it in 2 weeks, and so that will be open. We opened it publicly, so it's kind of set us back a little bit because part of the issue that we're facing is this. About a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, the state really put a lot of money out for us to be able to get funding for projects. We benefited by that. We got over $15 million in that period for infrastructure, for water and sewer needs. We have to, of course, and so people understand, they don't just give us a blank check. We put in for projects. So the money, when it's awarded, is for those specific projects. It's not just used as we see fit. By the time when they award, it is for specific projects. We were awarded for approximately $15 million worth of projects. So those projects are currently, we're working those projects currently. The problem is, so is everybody else in the state. And so larger projects are getting more attention from contractors. Smaller projects, not as much. And so the difficulty and challenge that we faced is we're not getting as many contractors bidding on these projects, and we have to make sure that we follow state mandates. So we're having to do it multiple times to make sure that we have made multiple attempts at trying to get as many bidders in before we award projects. So that's where we're at right now, the meter project. We're hoping that we have quite a few more bidders for that project here in 2 weeks. I had a discussion today with the wildlife department. The biologist that has been meeting with us, briefing us, and involved since the incident with the alligator reached out today, and we were discussing signage. One of the issues is we've got a proposal for 3 different types of signs that they're looking at, and they're wanting reviews as far as which one, or if we want to go with multiple, that we would like to use. We've already mapped multiple locations, quite a few locations throughout the town, and she and I are following up on Friday to have the discussion as far as selecting which sign has the best. They're very well done, but quite frankly, the one that I'm looking at is the one that they're recommending that basically says, keep alligators wild and our community safe. And this is the one that will probably be made into the signs that will be located throughout our town. And the boat ramps and any water, like the park or any areas where people frequent, that there's potential for interaction with alligators. So we'll be dealing with that. She and I will be following up on Friday in regards to that. We are having a training seminar next week with our staff and wildlife staff to address having our people properly trained and informed on how to interact with the alligators, how to prevent any measures, and how we can do that, and assessing with the public, and assessing when that threat becomes different levels.
Police department or fire?
It's police department. The police department will be, we're going to be having a 2-day training next week, all day, that will deal with everything from hands-on to being able to determine when a threat it escalates, and it's something that, because we are not, and let's be clear, I want to clarify this, because there are concerns by our law enforcement division. We do not have the authority to put our hands on alligators. Alligators are a protected species. The wildlife department has that authority. By having these trainings, what they can do is certify some of our people to interact. Now, their job is not removal. Their job is, basically to come in, and if there is an alligator in the area that is encroaching in an area that shouldn't be, they're going to get that alligator out of the area. But not by removal. They're going to, try to get him to go off on his own. But now, if this alligator doesn't behave in a normal alligator manner, the the next step in this process is wildlife coming out and removing the alligator. This is also going to make it where we are providing information to the wildlife department, where they're going to have more data to process as far as the interactions, because one of the concerns is that we're all seeing is there is a larger influx of gators that are going actually in the lake. Most of you all that have lived here, for a long time, what was always said for a long time was, well, there's gators and they're in the canals and they're often in surrounding areas, but they don't go to the lake. And that is what we're seeing is more and more that gators are. So they're working in conjunction with our people to, one, train our people how to manage this and help them as a force multiplier, because there are only very few of them around this region, and so this will help them, and then our people will know how to properly assess the situation, and if we need to get them involved where they come out and we're moving a gator, that'll be the step. If it's something as simple as our people can go out there and do something that reminds that alligator that we are not to interact with each other and they need to go away, that'll be part of the process. But we'll be doing that training next week with our staff.
State Park also.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. State Park's going to be involved in that, and there are a lot of communities that are wanting this training. One of the things that we spoke about today is we've had communities reaching out to us that want to be included in this training. This training is going to be just our people, because we're trying to fast track this and get our people ready to go immediately, just like getting the signs up as soon as possible. Because we are at the prime time when people are going to be coming here. You've got people coming on vacation, and you've got people that are residents that, when the weather's good, they're out there and they're enjoying it, so there's going to be more chances of encounters. So we want to make sure we get this stuff out as quickly as possible. But there are going to be other trainings that we are going to do in conjunction with other communities, other state parks, and other municipalities, because they're requesting assistance as well in getting these resources. And with the situation that we encountered recently, we have become kind of the focal point. We're initiating it's not necessarily initiating, but we're going to be the first town that's actually recognized as a gator-wise town. We're working with the biologists, because while there are other people that are putting out this information, we're working directly with them, because it's very similar to the program that they have that's bear-wise in the mountains, keeping bears away from civilization, homes, and stuff like that. This program is modeled after that. It's called Gator-Wise, and we're working with them to become the first model town that the wildlife department is going to really work with to get that information out to the community. We'll make sure that information is accessible. We heard what everyone was saying in our previous meeting when there were concerns about the website. Since our last meeting, we've gotten administrative control from the website. Now we've taken it internally. We are in the process of updating the website. We've got, I would say, about an 85%, if not more, of the website has been updated. Stuff like permits or forms that are on there that currently are in a format where you have to print them and probably handwrite them or either mail them and bring them in. We're in the process of getting that where you can fill them out online and digitally submit. That takes a little bit more time. All the other stuff that was, a little less invasive, we've already currently updated on the website. And we'll be dealing with that in-house, and which will also give us the opportunity where we have stuff that arises rapidly, we can put information out to the public. Whereas before we were having to go through it being managed off-site, which could slow the process or even keep it from happening if it's something that had to happen rapidly. So we are listening, we're hearing what people are saying, and we're trying to make the adjustments and modify operations to make it better for the community. Other than that, I don't believe, if you want to back me up on this, anything I missed? The dam, there was a gentleman that asked about the dam. The dam, we have put out bids for the dam. The company that it has not, I need to check on the details. That's why I wanted you to come see me, because I think looking at what we've run into with that was another one of our projects where we didn't get a lot of bids coming in. The company that we were looking at awarding the bid to is a company called Schnabel, and I may be butchering that, it may be Schnabel, so excuse me if I mispronounce, but they're the engineering firm that worked on the dam whenever the last time it was actually worked on, and I don't know the timetable, how long that was.
But it was the state park.
Yeah, it was their project, but basically they were the ones that they reached out. When you talk about doing dams, there is a small group of contractors that do that kind of work. There's an even smaller group that want to take on projects like ours, because ours is an earthen dam. It's three gates. It is a significant project to all of us, but in the spectrum of dams, it's a small scale project. So getting contractors that are interested in doing that has been a challenge. But I still would like to talk with you, sir. If you want to wait till after the meeting, that we would appreciate it. But other than that, that's where we're at right now. The contractors is kind of I want to touch on one thing. There's been some rhetoric and probably some misinformation about projects that we have ongoing and why the timetable has been what it is. It's not inaccurate. The projects are taking longer than they should have, or even what we anticipate or what we've scheduled. That's absolutely true. But what we're running into is and it's something that disgusts me probably more than it does the community, because I still don't understand why we're having the supply chain issues that we're having as far as equipment and materials. We put out these projects. Sometimes it takes, like we said before, it took a year and a half for legislative approval just for us to break ground on well site 4 after we'd already had approval for the project. That then in turn takes a project that was supposed to be $800,000 and turns it into a $1.4 million project because of cost inflation. Then when we sit down with the contractors, we find out that there's 6 months delay on getting generators. That's it, that's the estimate before we even start. Those are examples of the things that are causing these delays, whereas like our wastewater treatment plant project that's been currently ongoing and that we're trying to play beat the clock against coming into hurricane season before we get it done, was supposed to be done in March, and it's July and it's still not complete. And so we are trying to do everything in our powers to expedite the situation, but we have a limited capacity, and that's why we have the engineers that we have that oversee these projects with the contractors, and we work with them in conjunction with them to try to expedite these projects and get it done as quickly as possible. I know I was a little long-winded tonight, but I thought we had a lot of real estate to cover. Is there anything else I can answer?
Is supply chain issue part of the problem with the fire hydrant?
No, with fire hydrants, as a matter of fact, we had a staff meeting today, and what we're looking at is the fire hydrants, they're tested annually, and then we also have a company that comes in and does testing for them. What we do have is some that need to address. There may be a problem with the bolt on it where it's stripped. We have a couple that are out of commission. If they are out of commission, they should be bagged. If it doesn't pass, it should be bagged. If it's not bagged, then we need to address that, because that is part of protocol. And then we try to get them back in. We had a meeting today where we discussed how we're going to proceed with any issues with those. We're going to be changing out the covers on the hydrants that quick connects, where it's not the old school put a wrench on it and go like this. We're going to kind of mirror after what Whiteville's done. So basically, you're going to change the cap on the side. It'll be color coded and size match to our equipment. And then basically, you come up and you can hook the quick connect, and you don't have to take off covers and all that, and it'll cut down on time. But we're mirroring that after what they've done in Whiteville. Also, some of them, if there are some that are out of, that are not passing currently, we today sat down and discussed scheduling when we're going to take those out, because part of what we're going to have to do when we do that, and we faced this, I believe it was about a year and a half ago, and we've learned from it a little bit. We had one that we decided we were going to try to do it on a Saturday morning at 9 a.m., and we were assured that it wouldn't cut off water. Well, we ended up having to cut off water to half the town.
Thanks for the weekend.
Yeah, so we're not doing weekends, we're not gonna do that, but what we wanna do is minimize the impact to the community. But we are gonna have to replace some, and the unfortunate part is some of these have been in place for a long, long time. we don't know sometimes until we get in the ground whether there is a shut-off valve down there that'll make it easy for us where they can turn it off, valve that off and replace the unit, or if it's a matter of it's gotta be bracketed off, you know, blocks and blocks away for them to get into it. But we're in the process of doing that because absolutely, we're putting all the, you know, we're investing all this money in water pressure to ensure ISO ratings are, you know, where they need to be. And we're making sure that, you know, part of the whole thing with the wells was having that water pressure. Well, it doesn't do you any good if the hydrants aren't functional. So we are, like I said, actually had a meeting this morning. Fire chief's working in conjunction with Public Works, and that is something that's being addressed, and it's being made priority one, because we don't want to have any issues. While I was briefed and told that our fire department response time was around 6 minutes to the fire at 4th of July, we don't want to have anybody have loss of property or the potential for loss of life because of the kind of equipment failures or deficiencies that we should address.
Ron, you out there? You wanna add anything?
So the hydrant itself is in service. So the problem we had with the hydrant was the front steam gap, which is the front GE. So we actually used that hydrant that night in water. We ended up picking it up So the hydrant itself, again, we get our hydrants tested every year by our crew, and every 5 years as per the PA, we do a out of department test. We have somebody come in and they do it for us. If you see a black bag over a hydrant, that means it is truly out of service. How many of your bags? What was that? How many of your bags? Truthfully, not many. There's not many hydrants in the town that are truly out of service. Most of them, if they are something, the stem might be a little tight, and again, we're working on that. I think the main situation would be the first two camps, and that's something that, again, is in the works.
And from, I just want to piggyback on what he's saying. Like I said, we had the meeting this morning where we came up with our plan of action. They're working in conjunction with Public Works because, quite frankly, these guys, the fire department deals with fire hydrants, but the Public Works department deals with water and flow. So those guys are getting together and we're going to get out and we're going to assess these things because we do have some meters that have to be replaced. We do have some that haven't passed, and we do have some things where we're looking at trying to do it in a manner that resolves the issue, makes it functional, they do their job as needed without having to replace multiple, you know, substantial meters in town, is this plate. This was the option we were talking about, replacing the plates on the front. That will make them quick connects. So we can do that, which will save money as far as costs. But we also understand that we have some that are out of commission, and they've been directed to work together to come up with this plan and a timetable for when they're going to do it. Because I believe currently, and I don't want to be misquoted, but I'm just going to go there anyway, I believe there may be 12 throughout the town that need to be addressed, whether or not they either need to replace the plate replaced or replaced altogether.
Maximum.
Think of that.
How many approximately?
Well, its approximate number was 12. But we, you know, we need to also set up, because we can't do it, you know, ideally you would love to do it where you can go in and say we're going to do them all in a week. The problem is every one of those is going to be a water shut off. Every one of those is going to be a boil water advisory because of loss of pressure. And every one of those is probably, because of their proximity to the road, going to end up to a road closure. So what we need to do is we need to come up with a plan and do it quickly that minimizes the impact of the community, but gets this done.
So where do you keep the documentation this has been done? Is it on a tag on the hydrant, or do you have it in the central office?
We keep it first.
Fire station.
All right.
So I want to verify the one at my house has been checked in the last year.
Absolutely. We haven't done in, and I don't, it was either April or May this year. I think it was May, everything runs together, I apologize, but it was May of this year we just had it.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody do anything of that kind, and I'm really informed.
I said, they were done in May of this year.
I'd like to see that.
Was that the flow and pressure, or the 1 year, or the 5
We
year?
did the 5 year this year. So we actually do ours every 3 years. We test ours every 3 years. That was, we want to double up, make sure we're doing it right, and there's no question about it. So we
Thank
did,
you.
yes, we did the static test this year, or full test this year, and we'll do the maintenance every year after.
I have one more thing I want to say. I was informed, that Waccamaw Shores did not have good pressure on their fire hydrants. And that's a great concern of ours.
I was also told the other night that the tanker went for half full of water. That wasn't any truth to that either.
Well, I'm just
But I mean,
saying,
there's two sides to every story.
Well, and that's why I'm here,
Yeah.
for y'all to protect
I
us
appreciate
and
you
make
being
sure
here.
the pressure is
We want you to be
good.
protected.
And all of us would like to know that the pressure is good all the way down to the dam.
If I may speak on that.
Go ahead, Ron.
The fire hydrants all pass NFPA bill. So every hydrant we have passes NFPA via fire hydrant. But our same water system that runs off that wellsite 3 will help with the fire pressure. So, again, supply chain issues, but as soon as wellsite 3 is online, that will actually help the fire pressure as well. And after that wellsite's online, it will mirror just as if you went into the water tower here.
So they're meeting the 500?
Yes. Some of them, so there's no technical limit on a fire hydrant. So that if they're under 500, they're tagged red. But under 500, you can still count the fire hydrant as per every. Okay.
You got anything to add from the weekend? You good? Everything good? We'll
Just
go
want
around
to
the
say
horn.
thank you to everyone who came out to support us last week with the hot dog fundraiser. We did great, raised a lot of money for the fire department. And I just encourage everyone, if you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I have an email, phone, office, feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'll try to answer any questions I can.
I do want to do one last thing. I'm sorry.
Keep it short and sweet.
Very short and sweet. I just want to, most people here already know it, but we all, Scott retired.
I was here, I did that for you. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, you got it.
I was just gonna say,
Come here, Corey Finch, come here.
I was just gonna basically say to the public that Corey Finch has been named our new police chief, and that if you all notice. I don't know if any of you noticed over the holiday weekend that there was a very active presence with law enforcement, and I feel like he is taking good steps in a short amount of time because he's just stepped into the role to try to really, I guess, respond to the needs as he's assessed them, such as when we're out here looking at potential for people driving drunk or having, license checks, and then also having the officers, I think all three, everybody, you had 3 guys out there, and we've actually, and we have another officer that's supposed to be coming back, and I say coming back because she's decided to return home. I say it's home, but Tracy's coming back. So she's leaving the sheriff's department and coming back here. And we're excited about that, and we'll be fully staffed.
Pretty active weekend. Yes, sir, Sam. We won't go into detail, but we appreciate y'all.
And that's why we need to be fully staffed.
Yeah. All right.
Do I have anything else from you all? I'm sorry.
No, we're gonna go count around one. Carl, you got anything? You sure?
Yes.
Good. All right.
Already asked all.
All right. Ginger Littrell, I want to thank your wife for organizing the July 4th golf cart parade. I think that was pretty good. I had no idea that would be having a golf cart show. Good job. All right, if nothing further, I'll take the motion to adjourn.
Make that motion. Go ahead.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, anybody wants to talk? We'll be here for a few minutes.